in which we're actually going to be building a full, proper, fully fledged version of Yazi Turbo. I went to the Brotherhood Regional. I'm kind of jealous of this handsome fella and his own boss monster. Hey, there's a ban list out. Okay, so that's the first draft. Let's take it for a test run. Hello and welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today we are taking a look at my X-0 Yazi Turbo Thunder Dragon list that I recently took to a London local event, going 5-0 against sort of tier 1 and I guess tier 1.5, tier 2, that kind of thing. So we'll run through the list first, then we'll cover all of the rounds and side deck and all of the strategies and that kind of thing. So let's kick things off with the main deck. So the Thunder engine is pretty standard now. It's triple Thunder Dragon, double Dark, double Hawk, one Raw, and one Duo. This is the perfect ratio. It's been mastered by the guys over in America, and I don't think there needs to be any change to this. We've seen a few people running 2 Raw and like 1 Hawk, but otherwise this list is this ratio is really solid, and it's a really good engine. To combo with that, I've got to play the triple Solar, of course, and then triple Witherburster and double Collapse Serpent. These guys overperforming all day, this getting hand trapped all day. That's pretty much how it works. For the Chaos Dragons, triple Levianeer is standard, 1 Diablos is still standard. You get to rip another card out of the hand. If this didn't do that, I might actually cut it. It's one of these cards where it's definitely a hard brick. But when you do, it's pretty nice to have that option as well, plus it's a really big body. Goliath is for the combo, and obviously we're playing the Yazi deck, so 1 Destrudo and 1 Meme. You actually only need the 1 Destrudo because it's searchable with one of the main deck cards, and it's summonable off one of the extra deck cards, so really you do only need the 1 copy. And apart from that, yeah, that works really well on the day. So here's the main deck searcher, the brand new Omni Dragon Brotor. This card is actually really busted in this deck. There's some really funky stuff it does in other decks, but in this one it pretty much just searches for the Destrudo, so you can get your Yazi plays off. Otherwise you can search for one of the big Chaos Dragons in order to rip cards out of the opponent's hand. And then dangers, obviously, got to play the full 10 card lineup, I believe it is. 2 Nessie, and then 1 Cheap and 1 Bigfoot. So shoutouts to Stratos for hooking me up with the Danger Bigfoot on the day. Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to use it, although, I mean, essentially it just ended up being another material, so it could have been any other danger. If you can't get a Bigfoot, just play the 3rd Nessie, but obviously Nessie is more expensive, so Bigfoot's good. I don't know if I would play the 3rd Nessie. I might change the ratios around a bit post-event, but that is a consideration for upgrades for the future. And then I really wanted to play this for going 2nd, the triple Pancratops. I think this card has so much utility in a lot of matchups at the moment. The mirror match, it's really strong. You can hit a bunch of the Floodgate decks, but it's not that good against the Mind deck, so this might change for something else depending on how the deck evolves. Before the event I was really hoping I could pick up 3 copies of Phantasme, but unfortunately I wasn't able to, so I just ran 3 copies of Effect Veiler, which is obviously not quite the same. It's not searchable off the Brotor. It hits a few different matchups in different ways. I mean, technically it does more than Phantasme, but Phantasme also debricks your hand. So it's definitely better to have that, and this is going to be changing for Phantasme once that does arrive. And then so the spells, Triple Stacker's Light, and then after that I realised that my deck list only had 44 cards. Well, actually it had 46, so I was also playing the Eclipse and the Defrag Dragon. I hadn't really thought about the Brotor combos pre-event, so I wasn't really trying to do stuff with it. I was just trying to do stuff with the Eclipse Wyvern still. And then the defrag was just kind of an extra slot because I wanted more ways to bring out dragons. So that left me at 46, and I was really uncomfortable playing with that number, just because it felt wrong for some reason. And neither of these cards is really a starter card, so I thought I could put in more starter cards and more ways into the Yazi plays. So I decided to play 1 Armageddon Knight and 1 Dark Grepher. Armageddon Knight overperformed, Dark Grepher really underperformed. Maybe it needs more testing, but I'm not sure that I would want to run this in the future. And Armageddon Knight, it depends on how the deck gets switched up, but could potentially stay in here for that. So for the extra deck, obviously playing the one Yazi, Evil of the Yangzing, the best extra deck monster that this deck has to offer really. Need to get myself a first ed ulti, just got this normal ulti at the moment. But this guy was amazing. Throughout the whole event I was just baiting loads of interruptions with all the Thunder Dragon plays, and then I would summon Yazi and just kill my opponent through it, which is really, really insane. The other synchro is obviously the Hot Red Abyss. Just summon this off the Agapane and you win a lot of matchups from there. One Harbinger for the full combo, double Colossus because it's the Thunder Dragon deck. I don't think you need the third one came up a few times in pre-event testing, but maybe I've figured that out now because I only have to ever run 2 at the moment, I think. Then for all of the Yazi plays, one Link Rebo, the Guard Dragon plays, we've got LP and Agapane, and the Hieratic Link for the full combo. To go with the Yazi play, you need to play the Phoenix. For generic removal, I played the Unicorn. This doesn't normally come up, but it came up on the day, so it's pretty nice. I just like Unicorned away a Colossus and then OTK'd. And then you have to play Link 4s for the Yazi play to be worth it. So you normally just go into a Borosword Dragon, but I also decided to play a Borreload Dragon. I'm not entirely sure about these. So Borreload technically fixes problems that the deck already has, because you do put out a lot of big monsters, so you shouldn't need more monsters in order to deal damage. So Borosword should technically be redundant. Once you've baited all of the interruptions, you don't actually have enough to push. So you do need the Borosword in order to deal the damage. But then Borreload should be better because it deals with opposing problems better. It kind of fits a similar slot to Unicorn really. So one of them could probably be dropped. And then the extra deck space is very tight, so there's only one Saedra here. I think this is acceptable. In a Yazi version of the build, you don't have to summon a second version of Saedra so much. And you can generally just link your stuff into the Hieratic Link anyway, so you don't really need it. And that meant I could play the one very spicy deck of Aghav Dragon. So if you don't know what this does, it's a Link 4, which requires 2+ monsters, provided they're not tokens, and it has a bunch of different effects depending on what type of monsters in the graveyard. If you have a dragon in the graveyard, or multiple dragons in the graveyard, you inflict 100 damage on its summon to your opponent for each dragon in your graveyard. So basically, there were 2 options. There was either this, or there was Xyz's Ray Pierce, which I'll put a picture of up over there. So Xyz's Ray Pierce does damage when it gets sent to the graveyard and it's a dragon. So you'd summon out your LP, summon the Ray Pierce, send them both to the grave, deal 500 and win because time is a ridiculous mechanic. But that requires you to resolve your LP, which can be hit by Impermanence, Ash Blossom and Effect Veiler. And presumably there are other hand traps that are also relevant there. I guess Ghost Ogre also hits that. Whereas Aghav Dragon, you need to put a dragon in the grave, which is the same requirement as this because you need a dragon for it. But it doesn't get hit by the Ghost Ogre or by the Ash Blossom, so it seemed like a better choice. But essentially it's just following the mentality that we've seen through a lot of the more competitive players recently, especially Tom Rose and Team Karibos, of putting in the Black Ship in order to deal that burn damage. So you just combo off, make your Aghav Dragon and then win in time. It never actually came to a point where that was relevant. There was one match when it could have come up, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Onto the extra. Now, a lot of you guys have probably seen this and are a bit confused about why this is in here, Light and Darkness Dragon. The honest truth is that I wanted to play 3 Vanity's Fiend and I couldn't find a third one, so I just played this. Beyond that, it's not too hard to search. Because it is a light dragon, you can search it with a Brotor, targeting a Wyverburster. Which means you can get through via that. There's also the Eclipse Wyvern in this deck, so you could just use that to search this. But it does take up your normal summon. This never actually came up. There was never a time when I had it, or when I wanted to search it, or when I was able to search it and it was relevant. So, unfortunately, I can't attest to the greatness of this card, but 4 negates is pretty strong in my opinion. So then the 2 Vanity's Fiends. This card is really busted. The fact that you can play a deck where you can just special summon a danger, and then normal summon this, and you win, is really crazy. There are so many decks that are super reliant on their special summons, and you just really punish them for the fact that they side in like 3, 6, 9 hand traps for your deck, and then none of them do anything, because none of them hit Vanity's Fiend except for Impermanence, so this is really, really strong. The rest of the side, Triple Lance here is very standard at the moment. It hits so many decks. I played a Thunder Dragon Mirror and it was super relevant in that. I think I resolved it once or twice and it's crazy good. For back row removal, triple twin, triple eradicator. Eradicator is really strong. There are so few decks that can actually play it consistently, because in this deck, even through hand traps, you're going to put something big enough on board that is dark so you can actually trigger this. So definitely worth running this card, because it just makes your turn 1 board stronger when typically you'd be losing. You should just win from nowhere, which is kind of crazy. And then 1 Imperial Order. In case there were spell decks, I wanted a way to just auto-win. Now there are a few other variants. Previously in my old Yazi Turbo build, I was playing Imperial Order in the side and a Cyberstone in the main. So I won a few matches with that, just by summoning X-0 and stuff. But Imperial Order is enough within this version, because your extra deck and your main combo is so strong on their own. And then I had 2 slots left over. I wasn't really sure about what I was going to be facing, and basically I went, okay, it's the UK, I'm going to a local event, there's bound to be some kind of back row, so I decided in Double Denko. This never came up, unfortunately. I never actually drew into it, and there's no way to search it because this deck doesn't play the fusion, but very great card. I don't know if it's that good because of the Mystic Mine at the moment, but apart from that, it's really good against the other back row stun decks, so definitely worth playing if you think you're not afraid of the Mine deck. This might become something else. Let's go through the sort of rounds and the additional information then. So round 1, I went up against a Plant Salamangreat player. Very interesting take on the deck. Had some pretty cool stuff in it, but he bricked pretty unfortunately in game 1. And then in game 2 I was able to summon Vanity's Fiend and just stole the game from there, so that was kind of ridiculous, I'll be honest. Round 2 I went up against True Draco. I think I went 2-1 here. In one of the games he had a border which I couldn't out, and in another game I resolved Eradicator Epidemic Virus and it was really strong. Round 3 I went up against Danger Thunder. So he went first, set up the full board. Actually he set up a different board to what I was expecting. I was expecting there to be a Hieratic Link, a Goliath coming out of that, Harbinger and Abyss. He actually went for a more minimal board. It was like Sayuja Double Colossus and like a really heavily set up Grave, and I think he had an Abyss as well. So it's just super hard to play through. And his Grave was set up so much that there was no way I could kill him that turn, and he was definitely going to kill me the following turn. So I just scooped that one up. And then games 2 and 3 in that round, I think it was like I set up my combo and he sphere moded me, but then I still had a monster left, which was the Hieratic Link, so I was able to go through that. I think I went into a Brotor or something, and then I just hand trapped him and stopped him from playing. And then in game 3 I hand trapped his Solar and then just won from there because I was able to OTK with the Unicorn and then a Borosword, I think, something like that. Round 4 was another True Draco up against Jamie here. So this I think was another 2-1. The probably most important things were Eradicator Epidemic, I think was really strong in this match as well. And then in the final round we were getting close to time. So my plan was to make the Agov Dragon and just win because I did a little bit of damage, and actually what happened was he had to flip a skill drain so that I didn't completely destroy his board. So he went down to 7k and that meant I just won from there. And round 5 against Salamangreat, round 1 he hand trapped me, my board was suboptimal, but he didn't kill me, and then I just took advantage of it and used Yazi to kill him. And then in game 2 he set up the usual board, some traps in it and stuff, but I just like Levianeered and then following that baited some stuff before Yazi Turbo, just like killing him, because Yazi is really strong and I don't know why people aren't realizing this yet. The only downsides to Yazi, you have to play a Mare in the main deck, you have to pay some life points, and you have to, actually to be fair, the extra deck slots it takes up are pretty hefty because you have to play the Link Aribo and a Link 2 and one of the big Link 4s to summon. But apart from that, it's very, very strong, and I really recommend running a Yazi engine wherever you think it does fit in. So thanks very much for watching my X-0 profile. Let me know if you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make in the comment section down below. If you're interested in following along with the sort of development of this project, then there'll be a link that's probably popped up already, just giving you the first video in my Yazi Turbo 2.0 series. in which I'm sort of exploring different options for building this deck and looking at how it could be created into something, you know, potentially more viable, potentially more powerful, and using some secret techs as well. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, then check out these lovely videos and drop a sub for Perry, the Tyrannosaurus Rex.